And we're back. Game number 2 of our second best of 3, the tail end of our Cloud9 doubleheader here on this Monday edition of the D2L Western Challenge. And, well, Cloud9, they've dropped 3 games in a row now. If they want to get things back on track and end up at least splitting their series after their loss to EG early on, they're going to have to win 2 in a row against Na'Vi. But based on what we saw out of Na'Vi in Game 1, it's quite an ask, if I do say so myself, to help break down this draft, and of course what Cloud9 and, well, pretty much every other team in the Western Challenge could do to be playing smarter, better, harder, faster, stronger, and all that. Welcome in once again, Tralf Dota. And Tralf, like I said it at the end of the game, into Game 1, which is if they had GG'd out at like 10, 12 minutes, I don't think anyone would have batted an eye. You might have been like, well, maybe they could have done X, maybe they could have done Y. But to tell you the truth, Envy was free farming. He was not participating in anything that was going on, and they were still up by double digits in kills. The gold graph was up to 7,500 gold lead at about 10, 12 minutes in. And then Na'Vi just said, oh, LOL, we know how to play Dota after all, and just destroyed them in the second half of the game. It wasn't even remotely close. You know, as a guy who's played professionally, how do you bounce back from a loss like that? It has to be immensely demoralizing.
You just have to do your best to forget about it. Pick up the things that you did well, and then just try to forget about the things that you didn't do well. But again, that's very hard to do because it wasn't so much of what Cloud9 did incorrectly, mostly of how the draft worked out in the mid game for Na'Vi, which was basically I think a big thing too was rotations from Ember Spirit after they got a couple kills onto the Timber Saw. Ember Spirit got his core items at that time. It was basically phase and drums and a perseverance. He was close to the Battle Fury at around the 25-minute mark, and they just started to run with him and utilize the Ember Spirit as best as they could in that time. And that's when that hero starts to shine, is when he gets those levels, like right around level 10 or level 11. So I think, yeah, the best thing to do for Cloud9 is just forget about it. Just play their own game, play what maybe play what they're used to. I remember watching them and being really impressed by, like, you know, they ran all the time these pushing lineups with Chen and Luna, and I know actually Luna is banned out here in the second phase. But maybe go back to things that they're a bit more used to. But again, it is hard because how much more can you ask than 7-kill lead at 3 minutes in the game? So
yeah, exactly. And you know, I think we were both on the same page. The standout performer and all that was definitely Havost. I mean, and that's saying from Na'Vi and the whole scope of the game. Make no mistake, AUI was utterly on fire, as was Sing Sing early on, and they just were playing out of their minds. But the fact that Havost was getting dove, he was getting ganked, he had a lot of pressure in his face, he started out in the jungle and was run out of there just because of how quickly top lane fell apart. You know, Puppey and Kuro certainly bounced back well in their own right, and Dindy did as well as he could in mid, given the whole map seemed to be collapsing around him. But it was really him, and the fact that, what was it, like 20-some minutes in after all that, he had a Shivas, he had a set of drums, he had a mech up too, and it just, like, at that point Na'Vi just said, we can run as 5, we don't need to worry about trying to cut you off. I mean, hell, even before all that happened, I want to say it was even before he had his mech, although he may have just finished it, they were diving pile I die at the tier, in between the tier 2 and the tier 3 bottom. So it wasn't as if he just sat and farmed and used Devour exclusively to catch himself up. He just played extremely well down the stretch and was a huge catalyst by the time all was said and done, especially once the Assault Cuirass came out. I want to say he got that up by the end, didn't he? Or am I just an idiot who can't remember doing games?
The most?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had it.
Okay. For some reason, I said that as soon as I did. I was like, my brain goes, nope, LOL, you're dumb. But anyway, Cloud9, we saw them run Batrider Nyx Assassin earlier today to limited success, but obviously not enough, as they did lose that game. And at this point, Na'Vi just feels, I mean, you see the Ancient Apparition and the Invoker, AA, something Cloud9 tends to run a lot. Many teams tend to run it a lot now just because of how strong the hero is. But you see an early AA pick, you have to be conscious of aggressive pressure coming out on your laning phase.
Yeah, well, I think Nyx is really good against Invoker for several reasons. It's easy to I was just going to mention, I wonder if Navi's going to pick Doom again. And this makes me think, like, I feel like there was a time period about a month ago where we would see Doom, like, banned out in the first phase consistently.
Right.
And I don't think he's banned out quite, like, as frequently as he used to be. And I don't know why, because I feel, in my personal list, I feel like this hero is like top 5. I think his ultimate is just too good. On the hair of overpowered, because it completely shuts down one hero from a fight, like single-handedly. Boom, one button. That's forgetting every other one of his spells.
Right.
Is I forget the seconds. The Scorched Earth makes it so easy to maneuver around, gives you that extra regen, good damage.
Yep.
It just, and then his level of death came into play last game as well against the Timbersaw if it happens to be at the right multiplier. So yeah, I really thought Na'Vi would take out this Doom, but I was talking about the Nyx Assassin. It's quite good against Invoker. It's very easy to carapace a number of spells, not to mention in the late stages of the game, you get mana burns that start to do about like 600, 700 damage. So.
Right. Yeah, well, coming back around the Doom for a moment. It's everything you just touched on. It's how flexible and versatile it is. His ultimate is quite literally the hard counter to every hero in the game, and that's fine. That's what he's supposed to do. But when you look at what else he can do, he can jungle, he can lane, he does that effectively. He's very mobile. He can work in a ganking lineup based on what he manages to get off of his creeps. Does he get a stomp? Does he get a net? So on and so forth. And hell, he can even come help your mid. If your mid's struggling, he can get the whirlwind off of one of the Wildkins and just go toss that into mid. And yes, it costs him some time, but if that's your priority, then it's well worthwhile. And he still has Devour to catch up with. And I think he's an excellent hero, and I agree with you. Going back to like D2L Season 4 finals, he was first pick, first ban throughout our entire grand finals in Las Vegas. Yeah. And I'm like you. I don't know why he fell off quite as hard, but he also is a hero who does very well at building mech. He can fit into push lineups if he manages to get the aura from the Alpha Wolf. He's just excellent. And now Viper, another natural mech carrier. With the Invoker already out, one can only imagine this is going to be an aggressive tri-lane. It makes sense if they end up building an aggressive tri-lane around the Viper, the Ancient Apparition plus once, and the Doom to solo safe lane farm and Invoker in mid. Yeah,
I mean, I've also seen Funnick run Doom as offlane. I actually thought that's what they're going to do to begin with last game. I thought it was going to be also based off the information you told me where Havo said, I just want to play Ember, but well, he got to play Doom over the Ember, so I thought it was going to be actually the Doom offlane. But not quite sure what Navi's going to do. It would make sense if they did go aggro trialing with the AA and the Viper. It's a little risky because even though they have extremely strong lane presence with auto attacks and range, if they make one misstep in the off lane, they're quite squishy early on.
Yeah.
So if you have anyone in your face with a stun, and Crystal Maiden's very good about closing the gap, closing the distance with those slows, it could be a little bit risky. So I'm not quite sure what Navi's going to do laning wise. Templar Assassin picked up here for C9. I don't know if I'm familiar. Oh, I guess Sing Sing plays this.
Yeah.
Right. I think it'll probably be a Sing Sing mid with Templar, Batrider off lane, and then a Nyx as a 4.
Yep, that sounds about right. And Nyx is a pure support you don't see nearly as often. Teams just realize that you can stick him in off-lane situations, even if you want to do one of those. And I actually am becoming more and more a fan of them, where you start, say, like a Nyx Assassin off in mid, let him get level 4, level 5, level 6, and then just switch out with a jungler, a switch out, and basically turn that mid lane not into a pure farming lane, but in a, okay, who do we want to 6 as quick as possible? Rotate a support there, put Nyx in lane, let him bully someone around while your support catches up, especially if it's a hero like a Shadow Shaman who has such a high-value level 6 ultimate, so on and so forth. But it does look a little cookie cutter right now. Who knows, though? They could end up showing us a little bit of a flip, but the Shaker going to be coming out for Na'Vi, and that does, I don't know, like that makes it a little less clear. Shaker's so good at what he does. I still think it could be aggro because he could always end up, since they're on the dire side, he can end up falling back to pull the creeps into the Ancients if things don't look good. And that becomes very difficult to deal with when you have defensive heroes like Ancient Apparition and Viper especially. He's naturally tanky because of his passives. It makes it very hard to dive and very hard to do anything because you are slowed from it and so on. So I still think that's what Navi's going to end up doing.
Yeah, they could potentially do some dual lanes too, like Viper, AA top, and then just as you mentioned, Earthshaker doing some Ancients. So
yeah,
it's an off lane there. I love Earthshaker. This is one of my favorite support heroes, and it's also very the best thing about Earthshaker is that he's so good at counter initiating because also they buffed his Fisher with a little bit extra range. So heroes like Batrider, if you're on the ball with Earthshaker and you can stun immediately right when they kind of initiate, whether it's Batrider with a blink or Templar if she decides to get a blink or whoever it is, it's just very, very good for disjoining any kind of follow-up that C9 has from an initial reaction. Wraith King here picked up. I hope this isn't a 1. I don't know. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of one Wraith King, and I don't know what else it would be, so I think it has to be. But Wraith King is thought to be good against Doom specifically. The reason is if you Doom Wraith King, it's one of the only instances where you can be thought of a Doom as a wasted ability in that sense.
Yeah.
Because he's just going to come back. But now we might see finally a Quaswex Invoker coming out from Dendi, because the Mana Burn from the EMP is obviously quite effective against Wraith King.
I don't think they were. Yeah, I agree with you. Like you said, Wraith King not usually going to be your Doom target. I think dooming the Templar Assassin really bones her though. You can't refract, you can't
absolutely.
meld, you can't do anything. You're just basically running around and right clicking. And don't get me wrong, she hits like a truck if she gets adequate levels and gets up an early item or two. But the reason she hits like a truck is mostly due to meld and her ability to just stand in your face, let damage refract off of her, and be done with it. On top of that, Viper does very well against her as well, and that worries me quite a lot. I don't know. I feel like Na'Vi won the draft. Just going to say it flat out. The Wraith King is a big question mark. I'm right on the same page with you. I've seen it work. I mean, you play Dota enough, you see things work, but across the board, does it work enough to justify the pick, or does it work enough for it to be considered a strong pick? And as a one, I'm not really a fan.
I mean, if you look at his skill set, it's like, I just feel like almost any other carry would be better. Again, I feel like this is a pickup to prevent Doom from being effective to him. But again, no big deal. Who really cares? I mean, Wraith King doesn't really come online until he gets a decent chunk of items.
Right.
The Mortal Strike isn't as great of a scaling ability as some other crits. You have more consistent crits coming out from, like, say, Juggernaut or PA's crit. Obviously, it's an ultimate, so it's hard to compare the two, but it does a lot more damage. And then the skill set of Vampiric Aura doesn't do any damage for you. It's just a lifesteal. The stun is quite good, but I think it's a stun that's more suitable to a 4 Wraith King rather than a 1 Wraith King. So, I agree with you. It's not to say that it can't work. It's just, it's not my cup of tea.
Well, the other issue I have is where Wraith King could really shine, be it as a carry or be it as a support, is whenever you have consistent damage output, to follow up in fights. Like, you go in, you rush in, you're just face tank, and you die, and you pop your ultimate, and then you have that big slow, and you reinitiate off of that. The vast majority of what they have on their side is mostly things that want to initiate first and spin their spells quick. I mean, you're going to have the Vendetta and the Impale, and yes, Impale, Mana Burn, relatively low cooldowns, that's fine, but Vendetta is really what makes Nyx Assassin who he is. So usually you're going to want to use that in the middle of the fight, and then that's gone for a little while. Templar Assassin excels at getting the jump on heroes, be it through movement speed, be it through a blink dagger or anything else, and melding them down, bursting them down, especially squishy supports. And Bad Rider, obviously, with Lasso, is wants to try and get a pick and move in after that. And I just feel like I worry that there's going to be instances where they just skip worrying about Eternal Envy, like you said, and they're going to be focusing down in particular the TA and potentially even dooming Pile I Die, depending on how good of a game he has on the Nyx. You could just doom him out as well. And then, okay, they're going to take off or manage to bring down 1 or 2 heroes, maybe even just one. Then you'll see Wraith King die, and it's like, okay, here's the ultimate, let's reinitiate, and then what do you have left in the tank? Like, what do you have left to keep going?
Yeah, and one of the other things, too, is that Vipers, just heroes that can kite the Wraith King are very effective, because that hero really suffers from a lack of maneuverability and movement speed. That's why I really like, I hope, and I'm not sure I've never seen EE run this hero as a 1, and so I don't know what his build is, but I really do like movement speed items, because he's just too clunky in my opinion. So yeah, if he doesn't get any kind of movement speed items, or even if he does, he's still going to get kited by a Viper Strike ulti, or even just the orbs from whoever's playing that Viper. And it looks like it's going to be Havost.
Here's your big hug from your Ancient Apparition. Love when he spawns in like this, second day in a row we've seen that. So give it a big hug.
It's pretty funny, actually.
Give it a big hug to the old heroes. But as we load in, you can notice stats are popping up for the first time today. Much love and much thanks to Nahaz. You can find him on Twitter at NahazDota, who's running stats for what could be our last game, maybe our next to last game, one way or the other. And an interesting stat on that, the idea that Viper, in theory, is a good counter to TA, but in professional matches, it hasn't really played out that way. Doesn't have the best of the records you would expect. So, yeah, that's why we have stats, guys, because you say things, and you can only theory craft so much on paper. At some point, it becomes practice, and it's why you play games instead of playing them out on a paper bracket. You don't just fill in the names based on who you think's going to win based on drafts. You actually have to play the damn thing, and that's why. So we'll see which team's going to be coming out and getting the win here in game. So we'll take a look at our lineups and run through them, as we still have a little bit of time before we get underway with the Creeps Pile I Die. The captain will be on our Nyx Assassin, as mentioned, and it's going to be Eternal Envy playing on the Wraith King. I want to point out, by the way, I love Envy. We asked him, due to requests from viewers and stuff, could you please tag up using your correct name or initials. EE's fine. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. Just sticks EE in front of the unbelievably long string of alphabet soup that he had in to begin with. And you know what? I'm fine with it, Envy. You keep on keeping on, man. Sing Sing on the TA in mid. Crystal Maiden will be played by AUI, rotating his way to top as we see. And Bone 7 will be on the bat. Other side of the river, we're going to have Puppy, the captain of Na'Vi, on the Ancient Apparition. Gave us all a hug, so make sure you give him a hug back. Havost on the Viper. Invoker will be played by Dindy, second game in a row. It'll be Kuroki playing on our Earthshaker, and, of course, the Doom played by Funnick. So the lanes are taking shape, but have yet to really get an idea. Will be a solo farming Funnick up here. And, yeah, it looks like they're going to end up doing what I thought they would.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. This could be a potential kill onto Dendy. There's a double damage on the CM. No, it's just going to be kind of zoning for level 1. Nyx is in a little precarious spot. He actually wards the Ancient, so there's not going to be any kind of funny Ancient pulling here from Earthshaker. Earthshaker comes around with a wraparound on the Pylite die. He gets the Fisher stun.
Do they have the damage?
Block him in.
Chilling touch. Can he get a crit from that? There's the Carapace. That might be enough to get him back to safety. Gonna be close. Yep, Eternal Envy there around the corner means they didn't want to try to engage and get too cute about it. So that works out well for Pylite Die. Got the wards down, got the ward down on the low ground, got one up on the Ancients. That'll prevent Shaker from pulling it back. And so long as they can stay alive down here, this should be okay. It's kind of like we saw in our last game of the EG Cloud9 series. 3-on-2, stay alive, and you're going to come out ahead.
Yeah, but this is a little bit different because EE's not going to farm anything, or it's going to be very difficult for him, especially with Havos got level 1 Nether Toxin. He's going to get pretty much every CS and deny unless the creep wave is just too far away from him to get it. So yeah, this is going to be a really hard lane for EE to farm in. So they have either two options: one, to try to actually fight this and bring CM down, which doesn't look like they're doing because Aui's just gone straight to the jungle, or just completely kind of abandon it, let Eternal Envy get it, like the solo experience, and try to look for other lanes to farm. But that's very difficult to ask from a level 1 Nyx assassin with Carapace leveled up. So yeah, it's kind of a weird situation here for C9. Hopefully they can win in the solo lanes. Action top, actually. Bone 7 taking a lot of damage, also doing a lot of damage. And Funnick might get first blood.
Oh, so close. Can't get aggressive with a bat, man. Not when you've got that many stacks. And it's so easy to let happen. You see it all the time in pro matches, in pubs, whatever. Before you think you're doing all right, 1 or 2 stacks. Oh, hold on, there's going to be a fissure, but he got him on the wrong side. Havos couldn't get to him to follow up. If he had been able to block him out of that tree, that pathway in the trees, that would have been a kill for sure. But Cloud9 off to another good start as the stack's a little too high, and a good kill for Bone 7, bringing Funnick down.
Yeah, I was just going to say maybe they can start owning in their solo lanes. Oh, Funnick actually missing some CS by himself. Maybe a little tilted after that death, but yeah, I mean, Bat against melee heroes, it's very, very strong. So Bone 7 really exploiting that matchup, and as we see Puppy coming up here to help him out just a little bit. They don't want him. They don't want Funnick snowballing here in this lane, and this is also going to give Puppy some extra levels that he needs.
Yep, Bone continuing to take his own CS. He's already level 5 thanks to that kill, and just about a half-level difference between he and Funnick, which honestly isn't all that bad. We can see Havost is doing well in terms of CS. Wraith King, though, is getting some. I mean, he's sitting at 8, so it's not the end of the world. There's going to be a stun on Havost. Let's see if they can follow it up. Looks like that was more of a show you mean business. Here comes Pylite Die, still not level 2. I might have been hoping to get level 2 off of the creeps that died on his way out, because if he had, he would have had Impale, but instead, just level 1 and just the Carapace up right now. We can see it top. Not sure what happened, but Puppy and Funnick not liking the way the Firefly Trail tastes here in mid. Another rotation out of AUI coming in on Dindy, and they may get him. They will get him. Dindy, once again, no Wex, no Ghost Walk. Down he goes, 2-0. Cloud9 off to a great start again.
He actually does have 1 point in Wex, so he is going finally this hybrid. He actually got the Invoke off finally.
Yep.
But wasn't fast enough, and yeah, unfortunate. Aoi also is ready and prepared for that to happen because he does have a sentry on him. So yeah, good rotation from Aoi, and now he's level 4, and he has that level 2 Arcane Aura, so that's going to be really good for them. They found the uphill ward as well.
Yeah, this is going well for Cloud9, and they're executing this lineup about as well as anyone could ask. Sing Sing's racing Dindy for the rune. Pylite Die's there with an Impale to secure it, and there's that Ghost Walk shown off. This is what I think. I'm surprised that that this isn't more and more standard. I mean, because you don't need a ton of points into Quas early on unless you're just under a ton of pressure, and in that case, you can get a support to come help, like we see has been happening for Cloud9 with AUI rotating in. So you could just get 1 point 1 point into Exhort to help you out, 1 point into Quas, 1 point into Wex, or even if you want to wait a little bit and take the Wex point right at 4 minutes in, that's fine too. But no reason not to have one, even if you are going to go in Exhort mode.
Yeah, I think the general idea when you're Exhort is most of the time they want to get the double Forge Spirits up as fast as possible. But I agree with you. I think right now in this metagame too, having the Ghost Walk at least accessible is pretty important, especially lineups that can gank you easily. And Aui's, he's persistent and he's going for it.
Yep, forces it out again, and if nothing else, burning through his mana pool.
It's 200 mana. It's a lot.
Yep, it really is. First time in the last 15 Pro Dota 2 matches that a Quas Wex Evoker has put a point into Wex before level 10. Well, honestly, like, I almost, you know what, again, it all comes down to what you want to execute across the map. I mean, if Exhort's your big goal for other reasons, strategic reasons, long-term game reasons, you know, understandable. That's fine too. But, you know, I think we're both kind of the same mind. Quas Wex just gives you so much in terms of helping your team out and in terms of overall utility across the entire length and breadth of a game. And even in that case, if you want to start out with a point into level 1 Exhort, you could do that. Like, if you just want your first level into Exhort just for the extra in-lane damage, more power to you. Like, that'll help, and then you can switch away from it. But I don't know. At any rate, what we're seeing is a little bit different. It looks like we're ready to go again.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you said the Quas Wex doesn't get Wex, but yeah, it's okay. I think that's what you meant anyway.
Yeah,
but
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think he's going primarily to this Exhort build too, is because Exhort's pretty good against melee heroes, getting that extra damage on top of them, and the Forge Spirits with the negative armor is generally good. But he is getting a lot of pressure from Aui. And Aui's doing a great job for himself because not only is he pressuring mid, but he's also got very, very good levels. Level 4.5 here for Crystal Maiden on just the 5-minute mark.
Puppy continuing to stay up in this top lane, and he's getting good levels as well, like you said. The supports really are standing out right now. The CS is pretty solid across the board. We can actually see Sing Sing is bullying around Dindy, and a lot of that owed to that help he's been getting from AUI, and it might get a lot more now. Bone 7 is level 6, and he's going to try to come from a dark angle. Let's see if he can do it. Or is he just going to jungle? Thought maybe they would make a run at him. Looks like he might just be going to jungle, or maybe going to get a kill on a Vost. But Kuro picked up the DD and will be moving his way around now. That was spotted by this ward.
Yeah, kind of a cool little ward there. Not only blocking ancients, but gives a little bit of vision. Kuroki in trouble.
And there's the flame break, knocking him back. Well executed. They're just going to burn him down, hanging on to the lasso. And because they know they can bring him down, or should be able to bring him down on their own. And there comes the Wraith King to secure the kill in true carry style, and with the final say in the matter. But we actually saw Havost just say, "Nope, I'm out. See ya."
Yeah, C9's play this really, really well.
They are.
They're making Navi move around. They started up with Puppy up top, and then they knew that once it was a 2v2 situation, they could have CM roam back down there. And very interesting roam from Batrider as it frees up some level. Oh, he's got some stacks to work with, so he's gonna take these stacks, get some farms for a fast blink dagger, and then Pylai Dai is leeching experience up top, which is very, very necessary and needed on a Nyx assassin. So. Yeah, I mean, CS is still going a little bit in favor of Navi here early on, and obviously they still have Doom. They still have amazing mid to late game team fight with Doom and whatnot, but C9 still doing much better than I thought they would early on.
Yep, I completely agree. I feel like they've done better than you would have expected. Really, they've just been their movement's been impeccable. There's no other way to say it. And Navi, like you said, has been playing the role of the reactionary. You know, going from lane to lane to react to what C9's doing. And there's always going to be an innate advantage, both strategically and practically, in terms of CS level gain, etc. To you being the speed setter for setting the tone of the game. And they're really doing a great job. 8 minutes in, they lead 3-0, and they've built themselves a D up top. Pylai Dai could be in trouble. Navi might get on the board here. Should get on the board here. Carapace buys him some time, but Funnick will be there to get one more kill. Immediate rotation from AUI. Had help on the way from Bone 7, still short his blink dagger, a little over halfway to it as of now, and I think this is the right call. Don't try to reinitiate.
Yeah, and hand Midas up onto Funnick, so they had a good start, and they had a good start in the sense that I think they did better than they should have. Mm-hmm. But there's still some universal problems coming out, I think, for C9's lineup, and namely the Wraith King. I'm very curious to see how much effect he has. Actually, hold that thought. Havost is in a lot of trouble bottom. One more auto attack, and yeah, actually EE will get that kill. So He's 2-0. He still got some kills under his belt, but again, I still feel like come mid game they're gonna have some problems. We'll have to wait and see how Sing Sing really initiates this. It looks like he's going for a blink rush.
I think that's definitely the right call. Did they spend it? No, yeah, he's sitting on 1900. I definitely think that's going to be a blink rush.
Well, it could also be a Midas. There's always that.
Yeah.
Maybe he just hasn't had an opportunity to buy it from the courier, the recipe anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I know it's a popular choice right now, and I'm never not a fan of it.
It's like I like it vast majority of cases as well, but I feel like they're going to need, and this is just addressing everything you brought up, they're going to need more mid-game punch, and I don't know that a Midas gives them that with the TA. Here comes AUI to help out on Dindy. Can they track him down? They're right behind him. Sentry goes down, and yeah, they'll get him because of that. But this time, AUI didn't roll out naked. Came bringing the detection they needed, and they secure. Well, look who was right. Midas on the way for Sing Sing. And, yeah, they're in great shape. They're going to be looking to snowball him on a little bit of a slower scale. Down here at bottom, we've got action. There's going to be a nice ground pound that stuns both. Pylite Die will end up dropping. Now it's going to be Eternal Envy going to work on Havost. Doesn't have enough mana for his ulti. Now he does as he uses the magic stick. Still might get tracked down. There's an AA ultimate on the way. He walked out of it. And that might end up killing Havost. Nope, never mind. Havost got it. Yep, Nether Toxin.
I don't know why he chose to stun there when he knew he didn't have mana yet ready for the ultimate.
Yep, that's just a misplay.
Very questionable play by Eternal Envy.
Yep.
You should always save it, at least do the... I mean, I know he's smart. I know he can do some math, and should have had it in his mind that you need 280 mana, basically, to be able to still use that stun liberally and not worry about dying without the ultimate. So, yeah, kind of a misplay there from Eternal Envy.
Yeah, and... I'm like you. It's like it took a second for me to process what had just happened. Because he just used his magic stick to get the mana both for the stun and the ultimate, but he didn't have enough for both. And he opted for the stun and, yep, ended up dying in the meantime.
He was just confident, I guess, that he could have killed the Viper before dying, but you really have to take into account the Nether Toxin from Havost, because as your HP gets lower... Oh, hold that thought, mid.
Fissure disrupts it. There's going to be an AA ultimate that does connect on everyone. Beautiful tornado to follow. Bone 7's in trouble. There's a deafening blast as well. One auto attack cleans him up from the low ground. And now Sing Sing caught with the with the cold feet, rather. Almost called him frozen feet because I speak bad with words. But 6-5. Na'Vi turning this game around in a hurry. Looked like Cloud9 was off to a running start, and just like that, we could see they're in danger of trailing again. Haven't checked the graph, but yeah, that's kind of what I expected. They were near 1,000 gold at their peak. But Na'Vi has brought it back down to in their favor in terms of gold, though marginal, and the experience is just about dead even. Now we're going to have a Doom on the Pylite Die at top. Funnick chasing him all the way back. Yep, and he's going to get him because of it. And let's see if they can get something back. No lasso. Bone's going to have to just try to burn him down. Flame breaks him back. And that's just so smart. So smart. As soon as he saw the flame break, he's like, you have no help and you have no stun. So he just TP'd in his face.
Such a great play from Funnick. That was very impressive to watch. And Funnick he's a very, very good player. Very, very good player indeed. I was going to mention, oh yeah, the skill build here coming out from Puppey is one I've never seen from AA. Usually it always seems to be maxing Chilling Touch, just because you get a significantly lower cooldown with more attacks on top of it and more damage. So he's actually going for, it's not even maxing, it's like a very, very hybrid build. At least upping up the Ice Vortex. And I'm not saying that's bad at all. I think Ice Vortex is very underrated as a skill on AA. It's just kind of a bit overshadowed by Chilling Touch in the moment.
Puppey coming out, and he's going to be lassoed. There's help coming, but it's going to be there late. Fissure did lock in Sing Sing. Let's see if they can capitalize. Doesn't have a refraction up for 7 seconds. Yeah, Kuro's too far forward. He's going to end up dropping. Got off the Echo Slam, but not enough damage done. And don't think they're going to be able to bring down Funnick. Funnick's actually getting his Shadow Blade, by the way. So he will be playing a damage dealing role. Pylite Die engaging on Havost to bottom. Impale following the Vendetta. That could be another high-value kill. There's the stun from Eternal Envy coming from the south. And Nether Toxin or not, he drops. And this is what we saw Cloud9 struggle to do in Game 1. When things started to kind of turn against them a little bit, they just kept sliding deeper and deeper. This time they're counter-punching with the best of them. Funnick was actually sitting there, by the way, under cover of Shadow Amulet, hoping someone was there, but not the case. That's a Blink Dagger, by the way, on Eternal Envy.
Oh, man. I guess it's not too bad because they're basically throwing it in that they just need to go fight them. Because I think they know that they do not have this late against an Invoker in Doom and like. So yeah, he wants to turn up the aggression a little bit. He wants to be in their face. I don't understand too about maxing this Mortal Strike early on. I feel like stats are going to suit him much better. I mean, case in point, he didn't have enough mana available to get the kill or at least use that stun on Viper that one time, and still have the ultimate. So in Mortal Strike, he has like no damage right now to really couple the percentage coming out from the critical damage. So I don't know about that. I think he could have gone for a couple more greedy stat points before that. But Blink, I can't say I'm not a fan of it. I always like Blink on initiators that have good stuns. So we'll just have to wait and see how he applies it with the rest of his team.
And just like that, we're just about back to even. Na'Vi had it heading in their favor about as sharply as Cloud9 did. And granted, this is all marginal to begin with. It's been a tight match one way or the other. However, the biggest lead is in experience, and it is in favor of Cloud9. Midas is coming out relatively close for both players. Doom had his up a little bit quicker than Sing Sing, but now they're going to try to catch Dindy. Force Staff used to get him out of the way, and Bone 7 trying to get to the high ground. The Cold Snap doing too much damage. A Ultimate will catch him, and that's a major misplay. Trying to engage uphill into the dark for Lasso with the Cold Snap when you have Forge Spirits banging away on you as well as right clicks. And that's a big kill. Now Sing Sing's doomed out, and they should be able to kill him here.
Oh no, Kuroki just trapped Havost. And now Kuroki, at least they get the counter kill. Viper is the extra damage over time. Funnick in the meantime getting a kill in mid. I didn't see that, but Kuroki could be in trouble and he's going to fall. He trapped Havost in a little crevice there in the trees. As you see it pinging out, Havost has got to be pissed.
Yep, I actually was watching the one in mid and you were watching the one in bottom. I saw them Doom and dive Sing Sing. Sounds like you were watching the more fun one to have the camera on, but 11-9, it ends up being a 2-for-2 trade. They trade Havost for TA and Nyx Assassin for the Earthshaker. They also had gotten Bone 7, and they're going to get him. They actually got Funnick there. I was going to say
Sunstrike.
Boom! Still not enough. Oh no, he's going to shatter. Will he shatter? It's going to be so close.
Oh my God.
Barely. So I think one or two more ticks at most would have done it. So nonetheless, a good shot by Dindy, just not enough to bring him down. 12-9, 21 kills, split slightly in favor of Cloud9, and now they're beginning to open up the biggest lead of the game, close to 1,500 in their favor. Or actually, excuse me, it's Na'Vi leading in gold, but the experience remains in Cloud9's favor. Given we're at 16 minutes now, we're getting towards the tail end of the early game. Who do you think's played out the first 16 minutes the most effectively, Trow?
Well, I feel like C9's done what they have to do. I think it's going to come down to how much farm can Sing Sing get and how effective he can be and how much damage he can output, because I still really fear for the lineup as an entirety for C9. I think Na'Vi's lineup is just really going to trample over him at a certain point like it did last game.
Dindy engaged on the top. There's going to be a meld. He's Force Staffs into the trees and Ghost Walks. Impale did catch him. AA Ultimate on the way. They're going to hang around. Dindy thought about re-engaging perhaps if that would connect. Ooh, nice sentry. Yep, and now behind that, we're actually going to see Bone 7 finding himself a Kuroki. Earthshaker in trouble, and they reacted en masse while Na'Vi only sent the bare minimum troops, and they end up on the bad end of things because of it. Shadowblade has been done on Funnick for a while, and we'll see him begin to hopefully do some damage. Right now, though, I feel like, especially with that right there, bringing Dindy down, this is definitely Cloud9 in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I think Na'Vi is getting a little bit sloppy. Like, Dindy was up there all by himself for a little bit of time. Here comes the Doom actually on his Sing Sing, but that's a wasted Doom. Yeah. So, unfortunate, no follow-up there for him. And then Kuroki was just kind of like had that mentality of, oh, I'm going to come save you, but oh crap, I got caught out. And that was mostly just a good heads-up play by Bone 7. And then the Blink did come into play from EE as he was able to follow up on the lasso. But, yeah, I don't know. I think Na'Vi's getting a little careless. They need to recuperate and think about how they're going to approach these fights. And I have to agree with you. I'm not actually the biggest fan about this Shadowblade onto Doom. I really liked Havost build on it last game. And if you're going to go initiation, I feel like Blink just trumps Shadowblade in almost every situation.
Yep.
Obviously, Shadowblade does scale a bit better with giving you some attack speed. But I just think the surprise effect is much more reliable with a Blink than a Shadowblade.
Yeah, I honestly like just The most effective Dooms, it feels like I always see played, are the ones who tank up like hell, build mech, build Assault Cuirass, build drums, build basically what we saw last game, Shivas, etc. Build these AoE things, be they aura, be they AoE trigger effects like the Shivas, and then just be this big walking monster in every fight where basically you're not doing a ton of damage, and they're going to find Bone 7, actually. Kuro's right there. He does manage to force staff himself to safety up to the high ground. Got hit with the Viper Strike, but not nearly enough. They were waiting on the A ultimate and it got there a little late. Now they're going to initiate on the Kuro. Funnick's right there with him, though. Funnick doesn't have the Doom because he used it previously. Avos uses the mech to try and get the fight back under control. EE does have enough mana for his ultimate, so he'll just sacrifice himself. Now here comes the reinitiation. Pylai in position, hits an impale on nothing but creeps, and we see that Blink Dagger used for nothing but an escape. I thought they were going to try to come back in off of that with the lasso on Bone 7, instead opting to just cut their losses, and now Na'Vi looks like they might just rush straight into Roshan.
Yeah, I also thought Dendy was maybe he had a meatball invoked, but I think he just invoked Cold Snap and wasn't able to click him in time. So nice fast blink out by Envy. I didn't even think that he was going to have it off cooldown because he used the blink to initiate right before he died there.
And there's the A ultimate going to connect. In the meantime, Roche does end up dropping. That's picked up by Doom to the high ground. We can see trying to get some damage done. Puppey could be in trouble. Got caught by a Nova. Force staff to safety. Has a whole team to protect him. Avos is out front, has the mech if needed, and the rest of Cloud9 has to try to retreat. Now, they do have the Aegis on Funnick if he wants to try and chase them down. Probably going to be looking for EE. Nope, never mind. Going to go ahead and pull back. Thought he would go for it, but instead opting to just play with his team. So, big win for Na'Vi there.
Yep. And I think this is why they also chose Dire again. And we talked about this before. A lot of teams are choosing Dire. I mean, the Roshan just gives you so many opportunities for lineups to do Roshan. Obviously, I mean, I could. It's pretty obvious why Roshan is good. It gives you tons of experience and gold. Enough said. But yeah, so Navi's in still a good position despite them being down 9 kills to 14. And I still feel like in 5 or 6 minutes or something, that once you get some more core items up on a Na'Vi, like a Blink Dagger up on an Earthshaker, he's actually completely far away from it though, like not even close. So hopefully he can get some gold up, Kuroki that is. But I still feel like when they get a couple more core items up on their team, I fear that Na'Vi's just going to run over Cloud9's lineup. But we'll have to wait and see. C9 is playing this quite nicely. Like, I am liking this Blink by Eternal Envy.
Mm-hmm.
He also went for a Blade Mail, by the way, which is an interesting pickup.
Well, the issue I have is I think they're getting everything done, and I think you're dead on the money with everything. The problem is the hero they need to snowball isn't snowballing, and I think that's Sing Sing. I mean, you look at where he sits right now. He's just sitting at 3-2, which isn't bad by any stretch, but it's not what you want out of your early game TA in the first 20 minutes. And then you've got at the top of the board Envy, so he's played well, 6-1, great. Problem is when you look at the net worth chart, it's actually Sing Sing who's at the top of near the top of the net worth because of his Midas, but he doesn't particularly scale all that great into the late game. I mean, TA's an excellent hero, and she absolutely can blow you up with an item advantage, but as heroes get naturally more and more tanky, as more of these as BKBs and that kind of thing come out, as you start to see things like Vlad's come out, as we already see, is up on Funnick. She just is not nearly as effective in the last 20 minutes as she is in the first 20 minutes. So I think the Wraith King needs a little bit more farm. He's gone with a Blade Mail build, which is certainly going to be of help. I just worry we're going to get to that mid-game stage where the teams start to clash as 5, and Sing Sing's going to do a lot of damage, but not enough, and Envy's going to be in the middle of the fights and survivable and hanging in and doing some damage, but not really on a pace to scale into the late game as a true 1 carry.
Yeah, I fear that there's similar things, and that I fear that Sing Sing's just going to have a misstep, one minor misstep, and he's going to get doomed and then not have nothing to do in the fight.
Right.
So he's going to have to, if anything, if it comes down to that, bait it out and then just have money ready for a buyback, so that you can go into the next that same fight with Doom down and be basically up 5v4.
They're going to try to push bottom while Na'Vi pushes mid. Let's see if they want to react. They've already sent Shaker back. Shaker throws out the fissure just as the A ultimate connects. Here comes the Sunstrike on the money. Shot from downtown as Na'Vi gets a free one, protects the tower. Can they deny? No. Sing Sing sold out the get it. Let's see if it'll cost him. There's the trap. There's the fissure. Kuro may end up dead here and uses the Echo Slam to buy him more time to retreat. Thought he had help on the way, but did not. And was left out on an island by himself. Dindy now walking his way over, but it's going to be too little too late. And Na'Vi threatening mid, but certainly not in shape to push up, I don't think.
Yeah, well, they have the Aegis still on Funnick, right? Yeah, he's still got the Aegis. He's still got Doom. Havosti's just trying to get as much farm. Here comes a blink. It's done. Initiation on Havost. I don't know about this, though.
Here we go. Lasso onto Havost, bringing him back. Blade Mail has been used. Havost doing what damage he can. AA ultimate, or excuse me, the CM ultimate does good damage. Funnick about to lose his Aegis. This is going to be right before it expires. Less than a minute until it was going to expire. Didn't even see where the Sunstrike was. Sing Sing still doomed out, eating a lot of damage. Should have expired by now. Great timing on the Impale. And this is a big win for C9.
Yeah.
And Envy barely survived there, by the way. Barely.
I don't know what they were doing standing around there with their team like dead and or not anywhere near them.
I agree.
Even, Aegis and all, it doesn't matter if you're fighting 5v4. And C9 has a lot of stuns and a lot of things to catch people quickly. So with the blink initiations from multiple people. So 3 people to be exact. So yeah, that was kind of a misstep there by Na'Vi by standing up too far up. Not enough said.
Yeah, it's I feel like this is C9's time to shine. This is a chance they're going to have to break their backs. Sing Sing just finished his BKB. So for the next engagement, if they can force a big 5-on-5, Sing Sing's going to have 10 uninterrupted seconds of magic immunity. And that's going to be big against Na'Vi and their team composition right now. Havost went the Mech Scepter, which means he does feel pretty tanky, sitting at 1,600 HP. But obviously he's not a super right-click threat, and we saw how susceptible he can be to a bad rider, and then Eternal Envy having his Blade Mail up as well. This is, if they can execute now, they're going to have a chance to take the game. Pilot Eye's got eyes on Havost already, and it looks like, they know that if he's this far out, to have teammates nearby, and they're just going to retreat. Smart play out of C9. Good instincts.
And Pilot Eye, he's got enough for his blink and 20 gold. So this is going to be 4 different blinks on this on the route of C9. And Aoi looks like he might go for his signature item as well. I'm hoping for it. It's a pretty damn good item, especially against Doom, being able to make him extra slow and whatnot. But it was kind of funny there. We saw Puppy try to TP bottom of that tier 1 tower to help out, but he already used his ultimate onto Pilot Eye, and then Pilot Eye randomly decided to Carapace, and then it stunned him while he was TPing.
Is that what happened? I thought he canceled it because he didn't want to come in.
That's what I thought too, but I saw him get stunned. I was like, oh, it was the Carapace.
That's actually really funny. That's a really heads-up play. And Na'Vi now wants to take the last remaining tier 1. They will take it uncontested. And Cloud9 willing to bend but not break. They're going to have to contend soon. I think Na'Vi knows right now is such an important time. If they're the ones that are setting the fight, setting the terms, they're going to be in a much higher chance that they're going to be the ones who get the initiation they want instead of vice versa. TA, though, popped her invis. Here comes Bone 7. He's going to be able to lasso Funnick back. Trying to grab him back. There's the Viper Strike. Funnick is dropping quickly and will be able to... They will be able to bring him down, and Kuro drops the Fissure. They get the kill on the Nyx Assassin behind it, but now Havost is targeted down. There's the Crystal Maiden ultimate, and the rest of Na'Vi can do nothing but run. They're finally going to be able to bring down Havost. Tanky as he is, it takes a whole lot to make happen, but what's he going to do? Oh, they're going to catch Dindy now. What a fissure. Trying to disjoint it, but they didn't get him on the right side of it. Dindy now the target. Sing Sing charging him down. There's the flame break. Well placed. Knocked him back, and Sing Sing now on a killing spree. Puppy has to TP home. They're not done. They're on Kuro in the river. No lasso. The stun in 3 seconds. And don't think they have to worry about him dying. They might. Nah, they got him.
Oh, he gets the bad rider, though. Yep. What a play from Kuroki. What a player. Also, you probably were looking at the actual fight, but I was watching Aoi after his huge channeled ultimate there. Is he totally, and I'm pretty sure, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he did this with his presence of mind, but totally dodged the Sunstrike from Dendy. He was walking back, stopped, kind of like jittered his movement just a little bit, so you could tell that he was trying to dodge it. And if he didn't, if most players would just be like, oh, thank God, I'm home free, and run back to the well, and he would have died. But no, very heads-up play from Aoi. This is a CM that's 4-0-8, by the way.
Yeah, she AUI playing a phenomenal game, and he and Envy are combined 12-1 for this team. If you put Envy, and hang on, Puppy could get engaged on here, and Funnick's right there with him. Pilai might want to rethink this. He's going to stay right on Puppy's tail until he's sure. Yep, Funnick's right behind him. Oh, that's gotta hurt. You get so greedy, you just want it because you know he's squishy and you know you can burn him. But instead, making the right call and pulling back.
But you see the difference in how Doom's item builds really make a difference. Because last game, we saw Havost struggle, and it wasn't his fault, and had to start out in the jungle. Wasn't farming too well in the first 10 minutes. But his items at 24 minutes were, what was it? It was like Drums, Phase, Shiva's, Mech.
Yep.
And then he had an AC not too long after that. And he had the entire team basically beating on him. I know there's a different composition now, but Funnick dies so fast, and obviously a lot of it has to be contributed to the Bat Rider being able to pull him into the entire team instantly. But he is not tanky by any means. He is dying way too fast, and again, this goes. He does have an AC, so that'll be good for him. But I kind of question this Shadowblade pickup. I don't think we've seen its effectiveness at all.
Yeah, I agree with you. And we're going to have a Viper Strike on to Eternal Envy. Here's Pylai Die, good two-man impale. AA Ultimate will come out. There's the lasso pulling back Kuro in the meantime. And they got to decide. They're going to pull back. That's a very tough way to initiate. They managed to. Yep, the slows everyone down, and they reinitiate off of it. They managed to kill off Puppey. Dindy's next on the list. Funnick using his Shadow Blade to try and stay out of trouble. But Dindy's down, and Funnick reveals himself to get a kill, but ends up dropping as well. That's a triple kill for Sing Sing, a 5-for-2 exchange, and Cloud9 is absolutely rolling. Hard to believe. Coming up on 30 minutes, we're just about dead even until that exchange. The experience, though, completely and utterly in the control of Cloud9. So their item lead hasn't really been the big factor. It's been just how well leveled they've been and how well they've been able to force Na'Vi to react and punish them anytime they made a mistake.
Well, look at AUI, and now he's got his Rod of AUI. And he is higher level than everyone on Na'Vi except for Funnick. He's level 15 as a Crystal Maiden, 29 minutes in. And yeah, I'm very surprised. I really thought that Na'Vi's lineup was just going to trample over it around this time, but C9 with this all these blinks coming out, they have 4 blinks, and I wouldn't be surprised maybe if Aoi decides to get one himself. He'll probably go for a BKB, but this initiation is just too much for Na'Vi. They're getting picked apart one by one, it seems, and there's so much damage now coming out from Sing Sing. He's got the BKB Deso. He just picked up his Deso and now has a Yash on top of that.
Yeah, the Deso pick, I like it quite a lot. That's just as the AC came out for Funnick, and basically not nearly as big of an item now. They're just lacking in damage. Pylai going to engage on the Kuro. Bone 7 blinks in. He's going to lasso him just to be safe, and they're going to get Havost anyway. Good split of their stuns. Frostbiting down Havost.
Jeez.
Yep, and this is getting out of hand. The Cloud9 with this draft has made it work for them in a big way. And Na'Vi just has to sack this. Just has to say, okay, you can have it. You still have tier 2s to go through. We're going to have to take a win whenever you come and push into us.
And you got to give a lot of credit to Isama the God himself with this item build, because it's totally working out. He's going to have a Mjolnir soon, too, and that's just going to kind of go with his little theme of attack me and take more damage. Or the cool thing about it, too, is he can also put the Mjolnir on, say, Sing Sing or whoever's getting initiated and do a lot of damage that way. So it's this item build has proven to be very successful for this game in this scenario.
Dies at top for free as Bone 7 just finds him one. I think he spent a 10-second BKB there, but whatever. Taking him off the map gives them even more time and room to operate. And yeah, like you said, old Envy. And this is why you max the crit, I guess. Get the Mortal Strike up early because you're going to build attack speed, and that's exactly what he's done. And I'm as impressed with Cloud9 this game as I was Na'Vi last game. Just about, anyway. They have just made this lineup work so well. Now Dindy caught out, and the Fisher still not enough. They'll be able to kill him, clean him up easily. Sing Sing, godlike indeed. Kuro stunned at the foot of his own steps. Havosh trying to mech. Bone has a lasso fresh off of cooldown. And AUI with the ultimate. Havost is gone. Funnick is gone. And now Dindy off the buyback, coming back in. Finally, they get the Aegis. Kuro helping to clean things up using the Echo Slam, and they get AUI as well, so nice play there. Sing Sing, though, oh, wow, actually stunned for a moment and has to pull back now as the rest of them are just up too quickly. But that cost a lot of buybacks, and they lost a whole lot of gold.
Yeah, that was really close for him, just being a huge wipe there for C9. And Sing Sing is just, oh my god, he's doing so much work. And the big thing, too, is that they have so many stuns and slows, not to mention CM has that Rod of AUI, to keep people in place and just give Sing Sing the space he needs in these fights to just go ham. And he's doing that. He has so much damage under his belt. And what does he have now building out? This is a Manta.
Oh, Dindy. Down he goes. Sing Sing is just hitting so hard, man. Like, he's blowing up. It's one thing to see a TA at 32 minutes blow up a support in 2 or 3 shots. And yeah, he had some help from the bat there for sure, but he could have blown Dindy up by himself, who's a core, with probably 3 at most 4 shots after the meld. And, this is just, it's getting ugly. And this is such an impressive showing out of C9, especially coming off that loss in game 1. We talked during the draft about what it takes to just put those kind of, like, you know, I don't want to use the word embarrassing because sometimes you just get beat, whatever. It's not so much that, but it has to have that feeling to it that we had this, we were so far ahead. How in the hell did we let that happen? And I can't imagine it not weighing, but Cloud9, whether it weighs or not, they have executed this lineup as perfectly as anyone could have asked them to.
Yeah, they really could, and they've made me a believer. I mean, I like being wrong. I like seeing stuff and seeing fun stuff when you think it's not going to go one way and it does. And I really think this build by EE is so fun to watch too. Like, it's just very aggressive. It's fun for the viewers to watch, I'm sure. Seeing all these blinks and stuns and lightning shoot out of people, it's very fun.
Who is the only hero for chat trivia to log over 30 kills in a Pro Dota 2 match, and on what hero did he do it? Hold that thought. Boom. A ultimate connects. Doesn't matter. Shrugs it off.
Wait, only player?
Yep.
To get 30 kills in one match?
Yep. In a Pro Dota match. That's tough. I've seen close before. There have been a couple of matches that I've seen up towards the 20s. I don't know that I've ever seen the actual record-setting match, and it's probably somewhat surprising. Although Nahaz does have
Gotta be a Russian.
And then, yeah, probably.
Russian teams. They get some high-scoring games there.
Nahaz has a tendency, hold that thought. We hear a BKB and the lasso bringing Funnick back out of the fight. And can they reinitiate? Nope, he's down. And EE may end up blowing his ultimate. He's fine with that. It's back up at 60 seconds. Anyway, Pylai dies there. Sunstrike going to land right on his face. Gets the stun off onto Havost. And now Puppey, having thrown the ultimate, being targeted down. AUI trying to get the ultimate off. Sing Sing got caught by Cold Feet. Let's see if they can follow up. They do manage to get AUI. There's the Viper Strike on the Sing Sing now.
Uh-oh.
And they're going to get him. And, yep, they do. That's 1,400 gold that just went to Ancient Apparition of all heroes. And Havost and Dindy aren't done. 4 staff up in 15 seconds for one, and there's the blink. I thought he blinked into the trees, and he didn't. Very smart from Bone to blink that direction. We actually saw them ping the trees there. But Na'Vi able to hold serve and actually hold pretty convincingly as the Tier 3 did not drop.
Yeah, a bit of an overextension there for C9. And I have to say, actually, that of the heroes to get that huge streak, AA is actually a very, very good contender because that's like Ag's money in the bank. He's got 3K now all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm. And
if that's what he decides to go for. But I don't see why you wouldn't, because I feel like that upgrade for him is like probably the best in the game for a single hero.
I'm trying to think back on our trivia question. Hang on. Speaking of AA ulting, coming down the lane, smack. It's Envy, and a little worried, but he'll be all right.
But these engagements have been so well, despite the overextension right there, they've managed to pick off Doom like almost every single time in an engagement without him casting a spell.
Yep. And it's what they need to do, because the same problem exists for Sing Sing. If he gets doomed, especially if he gets doomed and Viper struck, he's kind of just meat. And they have done an amazing job of just not letting that happen. And they deserve all the credit in the world for that, to the tune of just about 10,000 gold advantage. Now, EE might get collapsed on here. They're by Jesus. Their experience lead is ridiculous. 25,000 experience lead. Let's look at the levels. Yeah, 22 on Sing Sing compared to Doom, the highest, which is 19 for Na'Vi, 17 for Dindy. AUI is the same level as Dindy's, Mid, and Voker, okay? AUI on the CM is the same level.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Oh man, you know, I'm just looking at this because I saw it about 10 minutes ago, but still, we don't have a blink dagger on Kuroki. He's almost level 16 too. you gotta wonder, this hasn't been his game between not being able to follow up certain times I've seen quickly enough and trapping his teammate Havost to get him killed one time. It's obviously not the easiest ability to maneuver, but yeah, unfortunately he hasn't had the best game, and I'm sure Na'Vi could really use that blink dagger. Especially when he's 16 too, because that does a lot of damage.
Just got the chat trivia, if you happen to see that. It was Dindy, and that was before the fight broke out. Yeah, it was Dindy's TA. Apparently he racked up 40 in a professional Dota match.
Oh my god.
What tournament was that in, Nahaz? Just out of curiosity. Like, what tournament, what year, if you don't care? Anyway, C9 threatening to end this game, coming down mid. Finally! The blink. Did he sell his wand? I bet he did. No, he still got it. So he found some gold somewhere. But BKB now up on Eternal Envy as well, so he's even more threatening than ever. And yeah, Cloud9 just going to fall back. Roshan should be back up in a few minutes, so no reason to get too far ahead. Versus Wagamama's Q-Pad team. Dota2's Waga's TA is beast. Indeed it is. So
Did he just come out with like a TA guide too, like a week ago or something?
Who, Waga?
Yeah,
I think
he
so.
did.
I'm not sure.
That's kind of ironic. Oh well, we finally have some kind of item progression for Doom in the last like 7 or 8 minutes, and the BKB is completed. But honestly, if C9 keeps doing what they've been doing in the last 10 minutes or so, which is lock him down, like it's not even going to matter because he won't even be able to get that BKB off. So Funnick, he's really got to be careful about his positioning, and this all goes back to the Shadowblade pickup. Like the Shadowblade pickup just kind of makes you want to go in there and be kind of in the front lines or run around in a weird way to find your opening that way. Rather than blink, you just blink in, you can stand from very, very far away, blink in, get your Doom off, and then you've pretty much done half of everything you need to as a Doom. So hopefully he can stay back far enough so that Bat goes on to someone else, but then, you know, that someone else dies. So it's give or take.
Speaking, I just want to see, have you noticed where they tucked Puppy? They're just like, they just know, like at this point, it makes more sense. You tuck him away in a place like this, he's not going to be able to contribute anything else, and that's fine, though. It's all about catching as many heroes as possible with the AA Ultimate whenever they try to engage. So I want to say I've seen Puppy do this before. I know I've seen another team or two do this when the game gets late. Usually, this is actually a little early. Now he is going to go ahead and TP out.
Failing.
Yep. He'll probably just go like right up here. Go hide up in here somewhere. Let's see where he goes. But anyway.
Well, you're talking about so you can get the full AoE on the ultimate, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why they do it. I want to say it was Puppy. I saw do that before. Hide for like 10 minutes at a stretch. But C9 knows the big guy is back up, and they're just waiting for the reaction. This is so smart. Na'Vi, predictably, trying to come out and challenge for Roshan. I'm sure they know the timer as well as C9 does. And they're going to try to catch her from behind, but C9's in great position. Not if Sing Sing gets caught, though. There's the Courier. Courier very close to death, but Sing Sing does manage to finish his Daedalus before they can catch up with it.
Havos broke his smoke to try to get that kill on the Courier, and he couldn't get the second auto attack. Very unfortunate.
Na'Vi still hanging around here in mid. They know Havost is there, but yeah, you can see where they're positioned, knowing that Na'Vi most likely in full force. You see one, they're going to re-smoke. Hey, if it don't work once, make it work twice, right? And here we go. We're going to move down and grab an invis. That's going to go on to Funnick. And they get a ward down. Let's see. Is this the initiation they've been looking for all game? Could be. They're smoked here as well. They're going to break it right on each other. Eternal Envy sees them. Puppy needs to get out of position, or back into position. Now we're going to have the lasso once again onto Funnick. He actually uses the refreshers, and now we're going to have the BKB. They're going to work on Puppy. He's going to end up dropping. Sing Sing doing what damage he can. It's 1 down for nil right now. There's the second lasso now onto Funnick, taking him out of the fight. They're going to drag him down in the Roshan, or at least into the trees behind the fight. We can see that it's now trickling down into the river. There's going to be a Fisher that catches a couple from the low ground of Kuro, but cleaned up by the Bat. Eternal Envy still standing. Only Havost is still alive, and they only lost Pylai dies. So this game looks like it might be winding down. That was probably going to be Na'Vi's best good chance at making something happen. Instead, it's going to be an Aegis going to our Wraith King.
I mean, I'm sorry, but Funnick did absolutely nothing there.
Yep.
Like it's very difficult for him. I understand, but maybe even just throw out the Doom on someone, because he was dead either way, and he has no buyback because he just bought his BKB. So it's very difficult when your top farmer net worth is unable to even cast their spells, because there was also a double, as you mentioned, the refresher on Bone 7.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just very unfortunate when a hero that is this effective, well, that thought his Puppy is dead yet again, unfortunately.
Yep. Havo's going to be stunned.
DJ.
Yep. I'd be a little shocked if it's not, actually. Because Envy, Sing Sing's doing so much damage. Force Staff from Denny trying to get him back. There's a Tornado Rock. That'll blow his ultimate. And actually, blows his ultimate. I couldn't remember, sadly, if it was ultimate or Aegis first. It is ultimate first. And that's going to be a set of racks, and I don't know what they can do to stop it. Puppy's still down 30 seconds. Funnick's coming back up, and that's handy-dandy, I suppose. But we're going to have another lasso up in 20 seconds, and C9 can just reset, reload, and re-push.
Yeah, they still have ults on, well, everyone, actually. And, I just, it's really come down to that they haven't been able to utilize the Doom at all. It's really been no effect, and he was wanting to maybe do it on the Wraith King, and this is where that Wraith King pick in the beginning actually played a little bit of a role here in the late stages of the game, because if he throws on the Wraith King, it's a complete waste if the Wraith King has mana for the ultimate. So he saw him, he was looking at him the whole time after he got netted with the lasso the first time. He was looking at him like, oh, do I want to ult you? Do I want to ult you? And he knew that it would be useless. So
right.
It's just a very, very precarious and odd situation for Doom in this game.
Yeah, I think we can all pretty much agree. I mean, taking a look at the net worth, it's definitely getting out of control, especially for Sing Sing, who has played amazing, but has had, not to take anything away from him. He has played phenomenal. But his team has done such a remarkable job of keeping him safe from Doom and keeping him safe from cold feet, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, the one time we actually saw them, manage to catch him with a cold feet proc or with a Doom or anything, he's died almost every time. It's just the execution of C9 as a unit has been so solid that they haven't been able to make that happen more often than not, and that's why C9 is so far ahead. Stun on the Havos as he comes in. There's the Mjolnir and the Blade Mail. Another lasso on the Funnick. And the refresher will be used, and bringing him further back. There's an A ultimate that actually catches more than a couple. Sing Sing will BKB. There's the Crystal Maiden ulti. AUI dies on the back of the fight. It's a 2-for-1 trade. However, one is right back up off of the ultimate. Still has that Aegis, by the way. And big crit to clean up Dindy. Puppy's next on the list, perhaps. And nope. Instead, just opting to pull back, forcing buybacks. Sunstrike hits, but EE sharing the damage with Pylai Die keeps him alive. Pylai actually still has that cheese as well. Didn't even pay attention to who picked that up. And that's my bad, but still 2 seconds down. Funnick not back up for 50 seconds. Buyback status, none for him. He will slowly have the ability to buy back. And just look at the traps that Sing Sing's laid here. Muted, I do believe, my friend.
Oh, yep. 15-10 record in competitive matches that go past 35 minutes.
Another lasso, this time on Havos, and I don't think they care about, well, Funnick's not even up, so why would they care? Finally, they get that Aegis, and Havos calls it.
GG.
Yep, Havos drops, and it took a 45 minutes, but Cloud9, take a look at the graph. It was so close for so long, then Cloud9 just flat out ran away with it, and our fears that Navi's lineup would turn out to be, the Navi's lineup would run over Cloud9 would turn out to be unfounded. As Funnick never really, honestly, he just had a hard time contributing at pretty much any phase of this game, even though he was the highest level on the side of Na'Vi. Seemed a little schizophrenic in his item build, but more so than anything, excellent play from Sing Sing and phenomenal play from the rest of his team to make sure that he never had a chance to take Sing Sing out of a fight. Great game from C9. We're going to a game 3.
Yeah, look at it. He's 5-9-4. He had 500 GPM, and it's not that low. It's not that Shadowblade is bad. It's just it didn't fit this game with so much blink. Look at all the items from Radiant. Just blink, 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 blink.
Yep.
And it just didn't fit this game. I think he needed to either go a similar build that Havos did in Game 1, or he needed to buy a blink himself because it just simply did not work out. He was never getting off Doom, and the hero just did not see any did not have any effect on the team fights after like the 22, 25 minute mark. Also, Kuroki did not have that great of a game either. It took him 40 minutes or so to get that blink, despite them having a decent. It wasn't an awful start, but things were still going their way. And I know it was early on, but Funnick did die to Bone 7 early on, and that just kind of spiked Bad Rider's farm a little bit to get the blink dagger fast and get the ball rolling for C9. So I'm very, very impressed by C9, and I'm surprised they were able to get the win off with those heroes, but I'm glad to be surprised. It was well played by everyone. Absolutely,
man. And by the way, how about we talk about EE and Sing Sing and their impact? We didn't talk a whole ton about Sing Sing. We did, but we didn't. We talked about his item choices. He was always in the front of these fights. We were making a big ado of Sing Sing's performance on the TA, as we should have, as we see he finishes up with 712 GPM, 18-3. But collectively, he and EE were 31-6. 31-6. Those two heroes accounting for 31 of the 45 total that C9 piled on, roughly 1 a minute. So excellent game from those two. Shout outs to Bone 7 as well. His Bad Rider was amazingly played. 9-3 on that. And Pylai Die. Box score doesn't show it, but you played well as well. 9-19. That's game number 2 behind us. We're going the distance as Cloud9 forces a game 3 versus Na'Vi and their bid to at least split the series here in their doubleheader Monday. I'm your host here at AC Chambers. Thanks for joining in, guys. This will undoubtedly be our last game of the evening, so hopefully you guys will stick with us. Not sure what's on other streams, but it's not nearly as good as Na'Vi this time. You know it's not. It just isn't. You can follow myself at AC, at AYESE on Twitter. Of course, Tralf is at Tralf Dota And make sure you check out Nahaz, too. He always tweets awesome stats. He's just an awesome guy. Always willing to lend a hand when he has free time to be our stats guy. Once again, Game 3 of our final series of the day, Na'Vi and Cloud9 coming up next. Stick with us. We'll be right back here on the D2L Western Challenge.